What if 2025 was a game that you play and life wasn't about enduring hardship after hardship? It was actually a game that you're designed to play and learn how to win. In this video podcast, we're going to go over the way that you can flip your mind in 2025. This is how to play a new reality game right here, right now on Wellness and Wisdom. All right, y'all, so it's a brand new year and we're all looking at strategies and maps and tools and everything that we're going to use from the intellect, from the mind, to be able to have the best life possible, to get wealth, to get relationships, to get everything that, quote, we want. But what if the thing that we want actually has less to do with what our heart and soul really knows it wants, and it has even much more to do with what we've been trained by society to desire? I'm going to break down in this video the tactical ways that you can actually design a game that you can win regardless of modernity's clutches and all the stuff that we've done up to this point that our parents, that our grandparents, that our great-great-grandparents have played. This is a brand new game. 2025 is the year of AI. It's the year of technology. It's the year of expansion. There's an orange man in the White House. Like there's all this stuff happening, but it's all a game on the outside. What is the inner game that you're going to play this year? And imagine every day waking up feeling like you're leveling up in a game. That's what this video is about. And you know, before we can have any mindset shift, there has to be a storyline to a game, right? When a video game designer designs a game, and you'll know this if you ever played Nintendo. Remember the glove, by the way? The glove in Nintendo was so sweet. I loved the glove. And then I used the glove and I was like, it's not that great. Talk about marketing. The game of Nintendo did a great job of marketing to you the excitement of living your life through a computer on a screen. Now, if you can get that excited as a child about a video game, just imagine how excited you can get creating a game where you're the hero, the author, and the programmer. That's exactly what we're going to go over today in this video podcast. Now, to start off, have you ever felt like you're playing a game where you just lose all the time? Have you ever felt like you're playing Monopoly or any board game or any card game or even a video game, and you're like, why can't I win? And you start to get angry about why you're not winning. Well, on the short-term internal locus of control, that might be fleeting motivation for a while, but long-term motivation is that you actually are the one who's playing the game that you create. Now, this is a total flip because a lot of times we feel like we are a victim of our circumstance. I know I have. I've definitely felt like that. But imagine, just for a moment, just try this on like a sweater and see if it itches. Imagine this year in 2025 that you are not only playing the game that you designed, but that you actually can change the rules in the game as the programmer whenever the hell you want. That's the kind of game I'm playing this year, and that's the kind of new reality game that we all get to play. So what is reality? Reality is an agreed upon fabrication of our ocular reflex, of our voice, and of our sensory perception. That's it. It's those three things. What our visual cortex tells us, what we give and receive information from, aka the brain, and any kind of program that's pre-existing that's either conditioned by society or conditioned by parents or conditioned by ourselves and the media and the stuff we've consumed. So if it's true that we're playing a game of life, are you just surviving? Are you just surviving in this game? Are you playing by someone else's rules? It's time to rewrite them. Let's rewrite the rules of the game you play for yourself in 2025. First and foremost, when we look at the new reality game, it is the game that you've gotten clear upon. What are your values? What is your purpose? And what is your identity that you plug into your values and your purpose? First and foremost, full stop. If you haven't done that work yet, go to this video linked on the screen right here in another AMA where I talked about getting very clear, the how-to, get very clear on your values, clear on your purpose, and then plug in your wellness identity or your identity of self so that these three aspects of you can actually create a new game. If you don't do that, you're not going to want to watch the rest of this video. So make sure you stop and go to that video right now. All right, you're back. Now, after you've watched that video and you're clear on your purpose, you're clear on your values, and you're clear on your identity, now it's time to rewrite the new game. So here's how you write the new game. First, you see it through a lens of the wellness pentagon. It's on the screen right now: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial. This is the lens that you get to look at life through. So with every decision in the game that you make, ask yourself this one question. Is the lens that I'm looking at nourishing one of these five sides or more? Is the game that I'm about to create that I can actually code whenever I want to change it? Is it creating a result or a reward where I'm leveling up and I'm nourishing one or even all 5 sides of this pentagon? Second question you ask yourself before you create the game, before you program the game, is this in alignment with my values, my purpose, and my identity? Those 2 things are on the screen: values, purpose, identity, and the wellness pentagon. You put them together and you have the most robust coding mechanism in your brain, in your heart, in your soul that you'll ever need to play any game. And I promise you, I've done this work. I did deep work on this in 2024. Myself and my team, by the way, we all met in person. We meet in community. That's another way to drastically shift your mindset that we'll talk about later on in this video podcast. So now that you've done that deeper work, see life through the lens and feel these words as I share them with you. Life is not a series of hardships and circumstances that you must go through, that you must struggle through. Yes, will there be challenges? Of course. But in this new lens, combined with your values, your purpose, and your identity, can you choose to see it as a dynamic, interactive experience that you have control over? A dynamic, interactive experience that you have control over. Full stop, let that land. How does that feel? Are you experiencing resistance? It's okay if you are. It's a new game. Just like when you ride a bike or you do anything for the first time, it's going to feel a little weird. It's going to feel a little wonky the first time you do it. But I promise you, it'll get easier. Here's why. The most beautiful and cool part about playing the game, this new reality game in 2025, is a secret key that I'm going to give you right now. Many people have wounds around God, around religion. But the fact is that you and I would not be here unless we were created. So even if you're monotheistic, atheistic, Gnostic, Hindu, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, whatever, you know that you are here. Therefore, you have been created. So the key to all of this game working out with the lens and the code that I gave you is to honor the mystery. This is a really big point. It's on the screen right now. Honor the mystery. Honor the mystery. Surrender to the mystery of our Creator and to God. When we have no control whatsoever in the game, which sometimes happens when you meet a big boss like King Koopa, or when you're faced with a dragon that you've self-created, you will learn how to reconnect to yourself when you let go at certain portions of the game and you give it to God. Now, this could come through prayer, this could come through meditation, and we'll go into those tactical things later on in this video. The second concept I want to bring to you is about life being a B.T.F.A loop. It's on the screen right now. B is for beliefs, T is for thoughts, F is for feelings, and A is for actions, inspired actions. So this new game is about alignment. That's the game. It's about aligning with what you've already created. Your purpose, your values, your identity, and your wellness pentagon lens. Once you've done that deeper work, then you can really get to aligning your beliefs, your emotions, your mindset, your actions, and the reality that you're creating with your behavior. The B is for beliefs. Now, beliefs come consciously, and beliefs are stored unconsciously. Now, the key aspect to unconscious belief storage is that many times we don't even know that we don't know they're there. That's why it's called unconscious incompetence. As you move through the stages of the ladder, and we learned this from my mentor, Scott Jackson, the video is linked right here on the screen. This episode was deep. It was where I got completely served through the vehicle of information called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. We get 128 bits a minute that we can actually process in our brain, yet we have, I think, 11 million or just definitely millions and millions of bits of information that are flying at us every second. So if we have 10 million, 11 million, whatever, tens of millions of bits that are coming at us per second, our brain, our body can only process 128. What happens to the rest of them? Well, the reality is they still get stored. So when your parents, your grandparents, society, or school tells you something like, Jane, Johnny, you can't do that. You're not smart enough for that. Even if you consciously reject it, if you don't have a robust spiritual practice, if you're not seeing life through the lens of your purpose and your mission and your dream and your wellness pentagon, it's going to get stored more often. And eventually that's going to have to be purged. Now, the cool thing about rewriting code is just like when your computer gets a virus, you can clean it. You can clean your hard drive. You can clean your unconscious mind. We'll talk about how to do that later in this video. The next in the B.T.F.A loop is thoughts. The thoughts that we think are literally just thoughts. Now, this might at first audible sound a little woo-woo. What do you mean the thoughts I just think are just thoughts? That's what I mean. As I'm speaking with you right now, as you're connecting with me right now, as you're watching or listening to this right now, you're taking in information that I'm giving you and you're coding it through your critical factor, the space between your conscious and your unconscious mind, and you're deciding whether or not you should trust me, whether or not I've embodied the stuff that I'm telling you, whether or not I'm actually wearing in my body the wisdom that I'm sharing with you. And that's good. A critical factor, a skeptical, healthy skeptic is good. Yet what happens is our hard drive gets so full with beliefs that don't serve us, that are installed by parents that had them installed by their parents, and so on and so forth, that when we receive new information like this, that life can be just a game because you are the one writing it, coding it, and changing it, the unconscious mind might be like, get this shit out of here. This is not real. But what is reality? Remember, reality is the pieces that I mentioned before, these 3 important pieces. Rewind the video and watch that again. Once you're clear on what creates reality, then you can have a subjective experience of anything one-on-one and an objective experience on anything that the collective might be perceiving. This is what creates thought. Have you ever attached to a thought and brought emotion to it? Like you think, oh my God, is my girlfriend cheating on me? And then you start to feel it in your body, and then you think about it and ruminate on it. And next thing you know, you start feeling sad. Well, on the screen right now, belief, thought, and then right after thought is feeling. That's F. This is what creates our actions, which is the A on the B.T.F.A loop. Now, this is very reductionistic, but it's a coding mechanism for you to create your new reality game in 2025. This is why it's so important. You have a belief, I'm unworthy, I'm unloved, my parents were right, the school was right, I can't do this, some limiting thing that was installed. That creates a feeling. That feeling is created from thought. Now, the thought is only real when you attach emotion to it, energy and motion, right? Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only can be transmuted. Now, why is this so important? Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be moved. It can only be transmuted. That's a really important thing because then we take from abundance and abundance is still there. We ruminate and rumination comes back to us. We stoke ourselves with positive thoughts. We attach emotion or happiness or elation to those positive thoughts. And then guess what? The last and most important part of the B.T.F.A loop is action, inspired action. So we have the belief, which creates the thought, which then harnesses the feeling or the energy and motion. Then we have the action. So a typical addictive cycle might be belief. I am not worthy of love. Thought. Wow, I'm not worthy of love. Feeling, aka emotion, energy and motion. Wow, I'm feeling really sad. I'm not enough. Action. I'm going to go eat a whole quart of ice cream. I'm going to go drink a 5th of Jack Daniels. And you can see how this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now let's flip the script. This is how easy it is for you to change the game. Belief. I know my parents have told me I'm not enough. I know society makes me feel like I'm not enough at times, but that shit ain't true. I actually don't believe that I'm not enough. And you know what? Now here comes the T. I think I am enough. I think I am loved. And then that T turns into the F. I feel like I am loved. Now I'm attaching emotion, energy and motion to that B.T.F. Wow, I feel like I'm loved. Here comes the action. I'm going for a walk to revel in the beauty and mystery of God and myself. That is a beautiful B.T.F.A loop. Don't you agree? So now that we've gotten clear on the bedrock, the foundation of the structure of the coding mechanism that you are the coder for, let's go into the rules of the new reality game. Rule number 1 is that you get to define your character. First, who are you in this game? Who are you? You're the main player. You're the main character in this game. What is the heroic story that you would like to write? Maybe you've come from an abusive home. Maybe you've come from an economically depressed area. What would the main character of your story do so that he or she could be, so that he or she could have the life that she wants? It's on the screen right now. Be, do, have. The hero of the story, the definition of the character of the hero in your story is someone that does not have the life that they want yet. Can you relate? Of course you can, because that's the human experience. So what would the person that has $1 million, a wife and 3 children, a house on the beach, what would they have? What would they do? Work backwards. Well, they would establish themselves and put value so deeply out into the world, connected to their heart and soul, that money could not be sent to them, that they are a money magnet. There's many episodes we've done on this, and I'll link one right below here where you're watching or listening. And then first and most importantly, I'm working backwards. How would they be? Be, do, have. Work it in reverse one more time. If I have $1 million, if I'm a successful podcaster or I'm a successful anything, what would I be doing in order to have that? And then in order for me to do those things, who is the person, who is the character that's creating and crafting this game? How would they get to be? How would they get to be? Just let this land for a second. How would you get to be? What person do you get to become? What character do you get to become so that you can do the things that'll afford you or create the spaciousness in your life for you to have the things that you truly want? Again, this is reductionistic, but it's real. This is the way that video games are built. This is the way that the narrative that's come from 100+ years of industrialization and media conglomerates telling you how you should think, how you should feel, they use the same formula. This is where all the propaganda in wartime comes from. You should feel like you're proud of your country, therefore you should fight and die for it. You should feel like these people are bad. Republicans are good and Democrats are bad. This is the same framework they're using, right? The same way that you can use the B.T.F.A formula is the exact formula that you can use to create the main character in the game that you're playing in 2025. So take the inventory. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your superpowers? What are you really, really good at? On the screen right now is a Venn diagram. One of the circles is what are my strengths? The other circle is what does the world need? What is the world calling for? The other circle is what do I love to do? And the most important circle when it comes to generating wealth or having the things from B.T.F.A is what do I get paid for? What are my strengths? What do I love? What can I get paid for? And what does the world need? That is exactly how you build a game of wealth and a game of abundance for yourself, your family, your community, and for your friends, for anybody that you love. So here's an action. Write down 3 core traits that you know are the most heartfelt, that you'll get paid for, and also identify what is one thing that you can do to level up. Next in the creation process is choose your levels or choose your objectives. Every video game has levels. You gather the skills, you gather the mushrooms if you're Mario, and then once you reach the pole, you slide down and you move on to the next level. But how do you do this unless you have developed the skill sets in order to be, do, and have? Well, the first thing that you get to do is you get to set non-negotiable goals for whatever is most important to you. So for example, if you're working on the end goal of being a millionaire with a family and a thriving business, work backwards. What would they do if they had that? And how would they be? This is where the identity piece comes in. So whether it's your health goals about exercise, whether it's your nutrition goals about your body and how you feel, whether it's your financial goals or learning resources about investing or skill set development when it comes to financial health, make sure you write down these 3 things. Do it right now. Pause the video. Write down 3 things: your health, your relationships, your purpose, and then identify one thing out of many, one thing that you can do to move closer to be, do, have. Go ahead and write that down right now. Next up is mastering your level or mastering your environment. Declutter your space right now. Declutter your space. There's objects, there's people, there's trash, there's old clothes. There's all these things that are actually harvesting your attention. Declutter your space. This is an opportunity and also an obstacle that you will meet resistance on in 2025. So in order for you to have a space to create in, you get to clean out all the stuff that's blocking you from having space in the first place. I'll never forget, I had a therapist tell me once, she was like, oh, you really want to find someone. You really want to find your soulmate and your person. Great. Do you have space in your drawers for them? Do you have space in your closet for them? And I was like, what difference does that matter? And she said, well, if you don't have space in your closet for your woman's clothes, if you don't have space in your drawers or in your home for your woman, how are you calling her in? How is there going to be space when she comes in? Same thing exists for a woman wanting a man. Cultivate and create the space for health, for relationships, for wealth by first identifying what is the stuff that you get to declutter, that you get to denoise and throw away. This is really one of the most important things. I know I'm dropping a lot of important things today, but when you optimize your environment, physical, digital, social, the people, the content, the objects, the possessions, this actually energetically and practically creates space for new. So declutter your space, limit toxic influence from media. If you're watching something and it's making you feel bad, just stop watching it. Remember, you're coding your story in real time. And lastly, cultivate and curate supportive connections. supportive friendships. If you've attempted to deploy healthy boundaries with a friend and they're not respecting them, just communicate with love that you need to put your energy elsewhere. That is going to afford you new space to create new friendships in that'll be more fulfilling to your soul. All right, just like a video game, the next thing is about leveraging power-ups. You remember the super mushroom that Mario would eat in Nintendo? And he would get big and he was invincible and the fire couldn't touch him. You can actually do the same thing with biohacking tools, with mindset tools. Here's a few examples. When you start upgrading your physical self, when you start training, you're going to need recovery. This is where the ice bath comes in. It's on the screen right now, joshtrent.com/plunge. This is my hands down favorite way to recover. Also, joshtrent.com/sunhome. Sunhome saunas. I love their saunas, their bulb technology, just incredible hot and cold therapy. That's one aspect of leveling up, of actually using these power-ups to leverage your health. Now, this is in the health field, right? What if you wanted to level up your relational field? How would you do that? Remember, we're coding your game right now. If you wanted to have, we do have, a woman or a man who had these specific 7 qualities, well, then what would you do to have that person? You would obviously do or behave in those 7 ways. And then who would you get to become in order to do those things? You would become the type of man or woman that would be easily able to accomplish these 7 ways of being or 7 traits so that you could have this person. But here's where you're going to meet the most resistance. And this may be the most important part of this video. So really take a breath and listen. When you approach getting clear on your game, getting clear on your dream, and you work the be, do, have in reverse, what starts with it all is be. When you are being or becoming the person that has and does the things that you desire, you're going to meet yourself. You're going to meet all the habits. You're going to meet all the unconscious beliefs. Remember, we talked about this in the B.T.F.A loop. You're going to meet all the parts of yourself that are wanting to be broken free. Maybe it's wounding from the past. Maybe it's conditioning from the past. Maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe it's just fear that's in your epigenetics. Maybe your great-great-grandfather or grandmother came in from Sicily on a boat to Ellis Island and they just had a stamp put on their suit that told them they'd be poor for life. Maybe that's playing out in you. Be curious is what I'm saying. Be curious as you start to use these power-ups to work the be, do, have in reverse. And remember, the biggest question you could ever ask yourself, I've said this on 1,000 podcasts, what are you here to teach me? The pain, the resistance, the challenge. Instead of approaching it like, oh my God, this sucks, which that's fine if you do, eventually train yourself to come around to the thought process that says, what skill, what lesson, what gem am I learning from this challenge, from this hardship? Practice this over and over and over again. Use a journal, have a journal, and reframe your stack with this question. Hey, today I had this really severe hardship, or I'm really doubting that I can become this person that's going to be, do, have the thing or the person that I want. Write down where you believe the lesson is for you. Where is the lesson in this for you? I've mentioned many times on the podcast that feels perfect for me to share again, and it is a 2-part prayer. It's in meditation. It's in quietness. When you're meeting that resistance and the crunchy part of your habits, and this goes for all of us. I don't care how advanced you are. Even the highest level teachers or the newbie beginners, they can all benefit from this question. You get real quiet, you put your hands on your heart, and you just humbly ask with a beginner's mind, with an open mind, and you say, God, what is it that I most need to learn? And how can I be most humble to learn it? God, I'm meeting this obstacle where I continue to have the same fight with my partner, with my man, with my woman. I continue to have the same fight, God, please. What is it that I most need to learn, and how can I be most humble to learn it? And with your eyes closed, let the message come in. With your eyes open, let the message come in. The message is going to come in, and that's your code. That's your code to actually write the new portion of the video game. The game you're playing, the game that you're coding. Okay, the next piece is a game changer. You are the player and you're the programmer at the same time. So if you're the player and the programmer, how does that exist? It's almost like a computer, a quantum computer, where it's zeros and ones at the same time. Typically in regular computing, there's a 1 and a 0. The player and the programmer are separate. But in the science of neuroplasticity and visualization, science shows us that when we create thought form, that we actually validate a new neural network. It's called neuroplasticity in the brain. And when we enforce and reinforce and habitually think about the way we're becoming, what we're doing to have the thing that we want, that we do have, it actually plastically trains your brain to sit in those grooves of the new and empowering thought. Isn't this amazing? Think of your beliefs and habits as a code. Bad code, glitches, upgrade your code, upgrade your life, upgrade your code, and your life will follow. I mean, hashtag codes. My buddy Alex Wolf says this all the time. That's the self-mastery.
It's a code, right?
Yeah,
and most people these days don't have it.
I'll link the episode with Alex where he went deep into his creation of code for the video game of life he's playing. But this is a really big one. If you're the player and the programmer, then you must identify that you are both 1 and 0 at the same time. In psychology and in spiritual teachings, there is this phenomenon of duality where you're either playing someone else's script or you're playing your own. But in both scripts, there's dark and light. There's love and fear. In other words, there's always a choice point where the main character or the player can go the path of the dark side, like in Star Wars, or go to the light, like Luke Skywalker. Now, it doesn't mean that it's wrong or bad for you to choose either one, because it's all part of your spiritual evolution, of your maturity evolution. So rewire your codes, rewire your brain, recognize that you are the player and the programmer at the same time, and start to create a new game that feels good, that you enjoy. Now, it doesn't mean the other codes don't exist. It'll take time for those codes to be deleted, but the only way you can delete those codes isn't by focusing on deleting them. That's actually the opposite of behavior change. The only way those codes will change is when you start programming new ones. When you put in the new codes that feel amazing, the old codes will naturally go away. It's really what we focus on, what we feed grows. And I know we've heard this from so many teachers in the past 100 years plus, but it truly is that simple. Now, another paradox, just because it's simple does not mean it's easy. All right, let's get into the really nitty-gritty practical. If you are playing the game right now, and you're deciding in this moment, in this video, that you're playing a new game, start your game with a power ritual, right? Start your game with a full life meter, right? Remember Contra back in the day? You had like 6 lives or 5 lives or something. I don't know. I haven't played a video game in a long time. Bear with me. But you start your game with a power position. So prime yourself with breath work in the morning. It's on the screen right now, joshtrent.com/M21. There's a free breath work practice in there. There's a 3-week guide to get your body, your being, and your spirit back in balance. That's joshtrent.com/M21. That is a completely free tool for you to use. When you have a power ritual like breathing, you can then ask yourself a question from clarity. And that question can sound like, what is one thing I can do today to level up? What is one thing I can do today to get better at my game? Write it down, put it in your phone, speak it to yourself, whatever. Just make it real by putting it into voice, putting pen to paper, and putting it into reality. That's what your thoughts do through your mouth or through your hands. They put pen to paper or they put mouth to audio. And then that's what's coming back in the consciousness loop that actually trains your unconscious mind to believe it's real. Next is an energy audit. Audit the energy in your life. Where are you leaking energy? Is it with people? Is it with alcohol? Is it with drugs? Just be honest with yourself. No shame, no blame. Where are you leaking energy? Is it on your main character? Is it the hero of the story? Or is it on some NPC that's telling you to get 5 jabs and 7 boosters? Might want to ignore them. Next is gamify your challenges. So turn every obstacle into a quest. So instead of saying to yourself, I have to deal with this, say, how can I win this? How can I conquer this? How can I create a win in business or in relationship in life where I win and the other person wins? Because that's what you want. Be, do, have means you are being the person that's doing the thing that allows you to have the win-win. You wouldn't want to lose in a game. So why would you create a game with somebody you love or with somebody you're doing business with where they have to lose? You wouldn't do it. Gamify your challenges. When you meet resistance, ask yourself, how can I win this? How can I conquer this? What's something that comes from curiosity or creativity that could actually allow me to surmount this challenge? And the last piece, as you play your game starting today, is you have to have community. Community and the connection of community is the medicine for all healing. It is the medicine for all transformation. And it's definitely the new code that you can use to plug into your new video game. So no great game is played alone. When people play video games, Halo, where people spend like all this time and money, which I never understand, but no shame if you love Halo. Just get out of that game and get into this one, because I promise you're probably wasting a lot of time playing other people's games. That's what video games do. They pull you out of the game you're playing and they put you in someone else's. So I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place for video games when part of your game is just to unplug and stop playing and play somebody else's game just for the fun of it. But if you get caught in these loops of just playing someone else's game, you lose out on community. When you don't have community connection, you are not surrounding yourself with people that want to win, with people that want you to win, and finding out through conversation in community how you can play a game with people where you all win. My team and I always play this game. Everyone on our team is clear on their game. They know exactly what their game is. And so do I, because we've done the work to get clear. So we ask ourselves every week, how can we all play our games and how can we all win? How can you win in 2025? I'll leave you with this. Every game starts with the first click. It starts with you committing to playing the game full out. Every player starts at level 1. Every rookie starts with a white belt. Everybody starts exactly where they are. There's honesty there. There's power there. When you commit to leveling up one step at a time, there's just magic, y'all. I don't know how else to say it. Get clear in what I talked about in the beginning of this video. Then take the inspired action. Walk the B.T.F.A loop. Use the duality that's existing where you're the player and the programmer at the same time. Understand that be, do, have isn't just some spiritual woo-woo concept. It is a playbook. It is a code book for your video game. I'm living proof of this. I'm not just sharing this stuff with you because I don't believe it's real and I think it'll sound cool. I live these things. These things are practiced all the time, every day by myself. Do I lose at certain levels? Yeah, I do. But then I get to start again. That's the beauty of the video game. We die, quote, quote, in Super Mario. We fall into the lava. And then the question is, am I going to turn off the video game or am I just going to play another round? Play another round. Give yourself grace as you start at level 1, as you commit to leveling up, one step at a time. Life is not what's happening to you. It's what's happening through you and happening for you. Commit to playing your game. You're the player and the programmer at the same time. You're the hero of your own story. Now go win. Go play to win. And if you're craving community, if you recognize that you're disconnected from community, join us. It's on the screen right now, liberatedlife.com. It's a place where we all practice these tools, these ways of being, so that all of us can be, do, have, and not be a slave to the mind, and actually create something magical and meaningful in this world that's unique to you. Join us at liberatedlife.com. And until I see you on another video, I'm wishing you love, wellness, and most importantly, peace and power. I'll talk with you soon. My absolute favorite thing when it comes to supplements is single ingredients, not a bunch of science experiment jargon. On the back of the package, when it comes to clean proteins, my go-to is Equip Prime Proteins. Here's the kicker. It's made from beef, literally just beef. You get 20 grams of protein in one scoop, and it's awesome to know I'm getting the same amount of nutrition I get in a 4-ounce steak in my smoothie. Pretty cool, right? On top of that, there's no chalky or gritty taste. I love using this product every single week for smoothies, even protein pancakes, or super tasty low-carb muffins. Breakfast, desserts. Prime Protein is dairy and lactose free, which is great for me because I have a sensitivity to lactose. And if you're like me, you're looking for something clean, really clean, that's third-party tested. I'm really picky about where my food comes from. And this Equip Prime Protein is glyphosate-free and even more importantly, glyphosate residue-free. That means there's absolutely zero glyphosate in this product. And in addition to being pesticide-free and free of heavy metals, it actually tastes good, which a lot of protein powders just simply cannot claim. If you've been burnt out on protein powders or protein in general, just looking for a way to get more healthy, clean protein in your body through your diet, head over to joshtrent.com/equip20. That's joshtrent.com/EQUIP20. Use code wellness20 to get 20% off your first order. Now, you're not going to find a deeper discount anywhere online. Please share this with your friends, your family, people that listen to this podcast. This is a very exclusive discount code and link for savings for you. I'm so happy I can partner with this company to give you this deep discount. My personal favorite is the vanilla. It tastes like vanilla ice cream when you add frozen fruit. But they also have salted caramel and strawberry and peanut butter, all super tasty, super healthy, super affordable. If you look at how expensive proteins are in the grocery store or even Amazon, this is cheaper and better for you. Save yourself some money, get great health. Head over to joshtrent.com/equip20. That's joshtrent.com/EQUIP20 and use the code wellness20 to get 20% off your first order.